Here is something most people over 60 have never been told. The foods quietly putting stress on your kidneys may not be the ones you expect. It is probably not the late-night snacks. It is probably not the dessert you treat yourself to on weekends. In many cases, it is the vegetables sitting right on your plate. The ones you have been putting there with confidence, believing you are doing everything right. A green smoothie in the morning. A bowl of beet juice because someone told you it helps your blood pressure. Potatoes at dinner because they feel wholesome and filling. Tomato sauce over pasta because you made it at home. Or those dark leafy greens that every health article calls a superfood. They all sound like the right choices. But here is the reality. If your doctor has ever flagged your kidney function, warned you about your potassium levels, mentioned kidney stones, or pointed to lab results that are not looking as good as they once did, some of these everyday vegetables deserve a much closer look. And the tricky part is that the kidneys rarely send a loud warning signal in the early stages. You might just feel more tired than usual. Your feet might puff up slightly by evening. Your body may feel heavier, slower, and most people chalk it all up to getting older. But sometimes it is not just age. Sometimes the kidneys are struggling, and they are waiting for you to pay attention. So today, we are going to cover two things. First, 5 common vegetables that may be placing hidden pressure on your kidneys. And second, for gentler, kidney-friendly vegetables that can help you eat with more confidence and less worry. Let us begin. Section 1. 5 vegetables that may stress your kidneys. Number 1. Spinach. Let's start with the one that surprises people the most. Spinach. For decades, spinach has been the poster child of healthy eating. It shows up in every clean eating guide, every detox plan, every green smoothie recipe. And if you are someone over 60 who has been faithfully adding spinach to your meals, you genuinely believe you are doing your kidneys a favor. But here is what most people do not know. Spinach is extremely high in oxalates, naturally occurring compounds found in certain plants. When oxalates enter the body in large amounts, they have a tendency to bind with calcium and form tiny crystals. For people with healthy kidneys, this is usually not a severe issue. The kidneys can manage a reasonable amount. But when kidney function is already reduced, or when someone has a history of forming kidney stones, those oxalate crystals can become a real problem. They can lodge inside the kidney's delicate filtering system and make an already difficult job even harder. Think of your kidneys like a fine mesh strainer. A little residue passing through is manageable. But pour a thick, concentrated liquid through that strainer every single day, and eventually the mesh starts to clog. And this is where the smoothie habit becomes particularly important to examine. When you sit down to a bowl of spinach leaves in a salad, there is a natural limit to how much you will eat. Your jaw gets tired. You feel full. You stop. But when you throw 3 large handfuls of raw spinach into a blender with some fruit and drink it down in 4 minutes, you have just delivered a concentrated dose of oxalates to your kidneys in a very short window of time. Far more than you would ever eat sitting at a table. For a person with perfectly healthy kidneys, this may not cause noticeable harm. But for someone with aging or already weakened kidneys, that morning ritual may be quietly adding to a burden that is already heavy. There is a simple wisdom in this. Even a good thing can become too much. The solution is not necessarily to eliminate spinach forever. It is to stop treating it as something you can have in unlimited quantities. If you enjoy leafy greens, speak with your doctor or a renal dietitian about which ones are safer for your specific situation and how much is actually appropriate for your body. Number 2. Potatoes and sweet potatoes. Now let us talk about something that almost everyone eats without a second thought. Potatoes, mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, roasted potatoes, even sweet potatoes, which many people believe are the healthier option. These foods feel familiar, comforting, and harmless. The concern with potatoes, both regular and sweet, is not their carbohydrate content. The issue is potassium. Potassium is a mineral that your body genuinely needs. It plays a critical role in keeping your heart rhythm steady and your muscles functioning properly. But when the kidneys are not filtering as efficiently as they once did, the body loses its ability to eliminate excess potassium. And when potassium builds up in the blood, it can interfere with heart function, something no one wants. That is why many people diagnosed with kidney disease or reduced kidney function are specifically told to limit high-potassium foods. A potato, sitting on your plate, looks completely innocent. But if your kidneys are weakened, that potato carries a significant mineral load, a load your kidneys now have to work much harder to process. Picture an experienced gatekeeper who has been managing a busy gate for 40 years. When he was younger, he could handle a constant rush. Now, as he ages, that gate does not open and close as quickly as it once did. If too many things arrive at once, the backup starts to grow. Now, this does not mean potatoes must disappear from your life entirely, but they should not be treated as a casual, unlimited food if your kidneys are struggling or if your doctor has told you potassium is a concern. There is a technique that renal dietitians sometimes recommend called leaching. You peel the potato, cut it into small pieces, soak those pieces in water for several hours, then drain and boil them in fresh water. This process can pull some of the potassium out of the potato before you eat it. But here is what people often misunderstand. Leaching does not make the potato potassium-free. Portion size still matters enormously. A small serving of leached potato is a different conversation from a full plate of mashed potatoes piled high. Whether leached or not, smaller portions, more awareness. That is the shift to make. Number 3, beets and beet juice. This one has become increasingly popular in recent years, and the enthusiasm around it is completely understandable. Beets are praised for supporting blood pressure, improving circulation, and boosting energy. Beet juice, especially, has developed a devoted following among people who are proactively trying to take care of their health. And beets do contain beneficial compounds. That part is real. But for someone with kidney concerns, particularly anyone prone to kidney stones or anyone already managing elevated potassium levels, drinking beet juice regularly can turn into a hidden problem. Here is the core issue. Drinking juice is fundamentally different from eating whole food. When you eat a small beet alongside a meal, you chew it slowly. Your digestive system processes it gradually. Your portion is naturally limited by appetite and fullness. But when beets are pressed into juice, you can consume a much larger quantity in a very short time, without feeling like you ate much at all. The same concentration effect that makes juice feel light and easy to drink is exactly what makes it more demanding on the kidneys. Consider oranges as an analogy. Eating one orange is a relaxed experience. Fiber, water, natural sugars absorbed over time. Drinking a full glass of orange juice made from 4 or 5 oranges is an entirely different metabolic event. Beet juice compounds this concern further because beets contain both oxalates and potassium. That means a single glass can deliver 2 types of kidney-relevant pressure simultaneously. The most dangerous part is the false confidence. People drinking beet juice regularly often feel virtuous about it. They are not drinking soda. They are not eating fast food. They are choosing a vegetable. That mindset makes it easy to overlook the fact that natural does not automatically mean appropriate for everybody, in every quantity, at every stage of life. If your doctor has informed you that your kidneys are weakened, that your potassium is elevated, or that you have a history of kidney stones, adding daily beet juice to your routine without medical guidance is a risk worth reconsidering. Number 4, concentrated tomato products. This one is easy to miss, because we are not talking about a fresh tomato sliced into a salad. We are talking about tomato paste, canned tomato sauce, tomato-based soups, tomato juice, ketchup used generously, any product where tomatoes have been cooked down, concentrated, or canned in large quantities. Fresh tomatoes are generally manageable, but when tomatoes are reduced and concentrated through cooking or processing, the potassium content per serving increases significantly. What was mild in a fresh tomato becomes more concentrated in a spoonful of paste, and much more concentrated in a bowl of thick tomato soup or a plate of pasta piled with marinara. Here is a useful way to picture it. One fresh tomato is like receiving a single letter in the mail. Your kidneys open it, process it, and move on. But a bowl of tomato paste-heavy sauce is like receiving 50 letters stuffed into that same mailbox at once. Healthy kidneys may handle the overflow without complaint. Kidneys that are already strained begin to fall behind. The home cooking trap is real here. Many people assume that because they cooked something themselves, it is automatically kidney safe. But homemade tomato sauce, made with a generous amount of paste, is still a high-potassium meal, regardless of who made it or how lovingly they stirred it. The adjustment does not have to mean giving up flavor or tradition. It means scaling back the tomato component and building richness another way. Garlic, onion, fresh basil, oregano, black pepper, a drizzle of good olive oil. These can carry tremendous flavor without the potassium load. A smaller amount of tomato in the sauce, balanced with herbs, can still taste deeply satisfying while being gentler on the kidneys. Eating well after 60 is not about making every meal taste like cardboard. It is about making each meal smarter. Number 5. Swiss chard. The final vegetable in this group is one that rarely raises suspicion, which is exactly why it belongs on this list. Swiss chard. Those beautiful, broad leaves with the colorful stems. It looks like one of the most natural, wholesome things you could put on a plate. Health and wellness content praises it constantly. And for most people with healthy kidneys, it is genuinely a nutritious vegetable. But for someone with reduced kidney function or a history of kidney stones, Swiss chard presents a particularly tricky challenge because it contains both potassium and oxalates. That combination means it can place pressure on the kidneys from two directions at once. Potassium puts strain on the filtration system when the kidneys cannot clear it efficiently. Oxalates raise the risk of crystal formation for those who are susceptible to kidney stones. Neither issue alone is necessarily alarming for someone with healthy kidneys. But when kidney function is already compromised, carrying that double burden on a regular basis can quietly compound the problem over time. This is the larger lesson that connects all 5 of these vegetables. None of them are bad foods in the universal sense. None of them are the enemy. The problem is not the vegetable itself. The problem is the mismatch between the vegetable's properties and the kidney's current capacity to handle them. After 60, especially if you have been told your kidneys are not functioning as well as they should be, your potassium is too high, your creatinine or eGFR numbers have shifted, or you have had kidney stones in the past, you cannot always eat the same way you did at 35. The body has changed, the needs have changed, and the intelligence is in recognizing that. Your kidneys are not asking you to be afraid. They are asking you to be thoughtful. Section 2. 4. Kidney-friendly vegetables worth choosing. Now that we have talked through the vegetables that deserve more caution, let us turn to the other side. Because there are genuinely good options, vegetables that are easier on the kidneys, flexible to cook with, and still capable of making meals feel satisfying. Kidney-friendly choice 1. Cauliflower. Cauliflower may not look like much. It is pale. It is quiet. It does not get the kind of enthusiastic attention that beets or spinach get in health conversations. But for someone navigating kidney health, cauliflower is actually one of the smartest vegetables you can choose. It is generally much lower in potassium than most starchy vegetables. It is mild in flavor, which makes it adaptable, and it can stand in remarkably well for higher potassium foods in familiar dishes. The clearest example is mashed cauliflower as a substitute for mashed potatoes. Steam or boil cauliflower until completely soft. Drain it well. Then mash it with a small amount of olive oil, a bit of garlic, black pepper, and any herbs that suit your diet. The result is warm, creamy, and genuinely satisfying, and it lands much more gently on kidneys that are working hard. This kind of substitution matters because one of the biggest barriers to eating differently after a health concern is the fear that meals will no longer feel good, that you are giving something up permanently, that food will become a chore. Cauliflower helps dissolve that fear. You are not losing the comfort of a warm, savory dish. You are just shifting what is in it. The experience at the table can remain almost identical. The experience inside the body can be quite different. You can use cauliflower in soup, in a simple stir-fry, roasted with herbs, pureed, or eaten steamed alongside a main dish. It requires no special preparation, no expensive ingredients, and no complicated cooking technique. Simple, accessible, genuinely helpful. Kidney-friendly choice to red bell peppers. Red bell peppers are one of those vegetables that tend to make people happy, and that matters more than people realize when it comes to eating well long term. They are naturally sweet and slightly crunchy. They add color to a plate that might otherwise look dull. They do not require salt or heavy seasoning to taste good, and they are one of the lower potassium vegetables available. That last point makes them particularly valuable. When someone is told to watch their potassium levels, one of the first things that often disappears from the table is flavor. Food starts to feel like a restriction, not a pleasure. And when meals become something you dread rather than enjoy, the entire effort of eating well starts to collapse. Red bell peppers push back against that problem. Slice them raw as a side. Roast them until they caramelize and become even sweeter. Stir-fry them quickly with a small amount of garlic. Toss them into a salad. Chop them into soups or egg dishes. In every case, they bring something vivid and enjoyable to the plate without loading the kidneys with mineral excess. They also contain natural antioxidants that support blood vessel health. This is relevant because the kidneys are densely packed with tiny blood vessels. When those vessels are under oxidative stress from age, from chronic conditions like high blood pressure or diabetes, kidney function can decline faster. Supporting vascular health through diet is not a cure, but it is a meaningful part of a longer-term strategy. Red bell peppers are easy to find, reasonably priced, and require almost no special effort to prepare. For kidney health, that combination of practical and beneficial makes them an excellent, regular addition to the plate. Kidney-friendly. Choice 3. Garlic. Garlic is one of the simplest, most humble ingredients in the kitchen. You do not need a health food store to find it. You do not need a recipe with 12 ingredients to use it. A few cloves, a pan, a little oil, and the flavor in a dish can transform completely. For people managing kidney health, garlic serves a role that goes beyond nutrition. It solves the flavor problem. When someone is told to reduce sodium, one of the immediate fears is that food will lose all its appeal. Salt is woven into the way many people cook and eat, especially over decades of habits. Removing it often leaves meals tasting flat and uninteresting. Garlic helps fill that gap. A small amount of garlic gently cooked in olive oil infuses an entire dish with warmth and depth. Added fresh to steamed vegetables, it elevates something simple into something that feels intentional and satisfying. Used in soups or lightly cooked greens, it transforms the experience of eating without adding sodium or mineral burden. This matters because people who do not enjoy their meals eventually stop caring about them. They start skipping foods they should be eating. They return to old habits because those habits at least felt good. The flavor bridge that garlic provides keeps healthy choices sustainable over time. Garlic also contains naturally occurring compounds that have been associated with cardiovascular support, blood pressure regulation, and anti-inflammatory effects. For older adults managing kidney disease, high blood pressure is often a parallel concern. The two conditions frequently influence each other. Foods that support both simultaneously are especially worth including. One practical tip: when you chop or crush garlic, allow it to sit for a few minutes before exposing it to heat. This brief resting period allows certain beneficial compounds to develop more fully before cooking. If you are on blood-thinning medication or have a sensitive digestive system, speak with your doctor before significantly increasing your garlic intake. But for most people, modest daily use of garlic as a flavor base is both safe and genuinely useful. Kidney-friendly choice for cabbage. Cabbage is perhaps the least glamorous vegetable on this list. It is not exotic. It does not come with a health trend behind it. It sits in grocery stores quietly, without much fanfare, at one of the lowest price points in the produce section. But for someone trying to eat in a way that supports kidney health, cabbage is one of the most practical and consistently reliable vegetables available. It is generally low in potassium compared to many of the vegetables we discussed in the first section. It is low in oxalates. It is versatile in the kitchen. You can steam it, boil it lightly, stir-fry it briefly, shred it into soups, use it as a wrap, or slice it raw in a simple salad. It does not require complicated preparation, and it pairs well with many of the other kidney-friendly choices discussed here, particularly garlic. Cabbage also belongs to the cruciferous vegetable family. which has been the subject of considerable research around its potential role in supporting the body's natural cellular processes and reducing oxidative stress. These are not miracle claims, but for older adults trying to reduce inflammation and support long-term health through diet. Cruciferous vegetables, in appropriate amounts, are generally considered a sound choice. Think of cabbage not as a dramatic health intervention, but as a reliable, steady presence in your kitchen. Not exciting, perhaps, but consistently useful, consistently gentle, and consistently available. After 60, steady and reliable often matters more than dramatic. Closing reflection by now. The central idea of this video should be clear. This is not about being afraid of vegetables. It is not about eliminating entire food categories and living on a restrictive, joyless diet. Vegetables are not the enemy, and good nutrition remains essential at every age. What this is about is understanding that your body has changed. After 60, especially if kidney disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, a history of kidney stones, or concerning lab results are part of your health picture, the same foods that were fine a decade ago may now deserve a second look. A food that is healthy for one person may not be appropriate for another. A vegetable that is nutritious when eaten in modest amounts may become a burden when consumed in large quantities daily. A food that is fine when eaten whole may behave very differently when it is juiced, blended, or cooked into a concentrated form. The practical changes are not as difficult as they sound. Watch how much spinach you are putting in that morning blender. Keep potato portions small, and ask your doctor whether leaching is worth trying in your situation. Think twice before making beet juice a daily habit without medical guidance. Scale back the tomato paste in your sauces and build flavor with herbs instead. Be cautious with Swiss chard if your potassium or oxalate levels are a concern. And build more meals around cauliflower, red bell peppers, garlic, and cabbage, not because they will cure anything, but because they make it easier to eat well consistently without adding pressure to kidneys that are already working hard. Your kidneys have been quietly doing one of the most demanding jobs in your body for your entire life. They have never asked for much. They filter your blood, balance your minerals, and remove what does not belong, day after day, for decades. What they need from you now is not perfection. They need consideration. A smaller portion here, a gentler choice there, one less concentrated drink per week, one more simple, easy vegetable added to the plate. Small choices, repeated steadily, add up to something meaningful. The next time you prepare a meal, ask yourself a different question. Not just, is this healthy? But is this gentle on my kidneys right now? Given where my health is today, that question might be one of the most important ones you ask at the dinner table. If anything in this video has given you something worth thinking about, share it with someone you care about, a spouse, a sibling, a friend who is also navigating health after 60. And if you have kidney disease, elevated potassium, a history of kidney stones, or your doctor has asked you to monitor your lab results, please speak with a physician or registered renal dietitian before making significant changes to your diet. What works for one person may not be appropriate for another, and personalized guidance is always the safest path. Take care of yourself, eat thoughtfully, and give your kidneys the quiet respect they have always deserved.